Hello?
I firmly believe that they are living entities in and of themselves that survive in a dimension we just cannot see or feel. And they come to us in dreams. And it's my path in this life to give these stories a voice so they can continue to survive. I mean, with an oral tradition, that's how our stories have lived for, 15,000 years or better.
While Gluskomba, whose name means he who made himself, was the first of the two-leggeds to walk upon the earth. He was here before the human beings were here. Because he made himself, and Creator was quite all impressed with that, because he made himself from the leftovers of what Creator was making the world from, and as he brushed the dust off his hands, that dust had the gift of life from Creator's hand still in it, and that life couldn't be negated, and everything kind of swirled and twisted around, and this being was formed and became Gluskomba. So as Creator went off to do other Creator things, he left Gluskomba here on this earth to oversee the planet, to finish and refine Creator's work, to create more plants and animals as needed, and to teach the people how to live well upon the land and make sure that everyone, furred, feathered, finned, and two-legged, cooperated with one another so that everyone could live well together.
Right.
And he's sort of the hero of the Abenaki people. He teaches them lessons. He plays tricks on them to teach them lessons sometimes. And over the generations, as he's taught everyone everything they can pretty much learn, he decided he was going to retire. And he took his grandmother, who's such a good cook, his Nugami, and disappeared from the land where he's in retirement. You'll hear some people refer to him as Gluskop or Gluskabe. Gluskabe is actually a past tense version of the name Gluskomba, meaning he has been but is no longer.
Oh.
I prefer Gluskomba because it's the present tense, and he's still here.
Yeah.
He's still out there.
Right.
He's still a being in existence than something of the past. I don't like the idea of him being a historic relic. He's such a dynamic character in the Abenaki history and pantheon of stories that I think it's important to keep him alive.
My name is Rick Hunt. I'm Carolyn's husband, and Carolyn has been a storyteller in the Native community for many, many, many years. And together we were known as Laughing Couple. And we performed in colleges, elementary schools, powwows, conferences, you name it. We were there, all different kinds of venues. And of course, Carolyn had a stroke about three and a half years ago. So we have slowed down considerably doing storytelling. Carolyn has, she experiences what's known as aphasia, which affects her language abilities, not her intellect, but word search and being able to pronounce words sometimes orally. And so it's been a real challenge for her. And I have to say that she is remarkable in her ongoing recovery from this. But
The story's called Warm Soup. One day, not too long ago, the creatures of the forest decided that they were going to have a party. All the birds and animals were invited. Each one was to bring their favorite foods to share with all the others. Everyone is very excited. The upcoming party was all everybody was talking about for days. Finally, the day of the party arrived. All of the birds and animals got up very early that morning so that they could all prepare their foods they would bring to the share. They were all very busy, but except for one animal. That one animal was Raccoon. He was somebody who did not like to plan ahead. He would just do things as they came along. He never did things because they needed to be done. No, Raccoon only did the things he wanted to do when he wanted to do them. And the morning of the party, when all the birds and animals were busy making their special food, Raccoon decided he wanted to go fishing. So Raccoon got up early in the morning of the party. He grabbed his fishing pole, he grabbed his fishing gear, and while everyone else was busy getting ready for the party, Raccoon dug long, fat worms out of the ground and went off to his favorite fishing hole. And while everyone else was busy getting ready for the party, Raccoon was leaning against his favorite tree. The worm was on the hook, and the hook was in the water. And that raccoon, well, he fell asleep in the warm light of grandfather's sun, waiting for the fish to bite. And that is where he stayed all morning. Before Raccoon knew it, it was the middle of the day and almost time for the party. Bear went scurrying by, busy with carrying her world-famous salmon quiche. That delicious smell went right up the sleeping raccoon's nose. So Raccoon's belly grumbled so hard it woke him right up. "Hey, Bear!" His nose was twitching away. "Where are you going with that wonderful smelling quiche? I made it special for today's party. Didn't you get your invitation?" said Bear, very pleased that your quiche was making Raccoon's mouth water. "Well, yes, I did, and I will be there, too. I might be the world-famous salmon quiche," and Raccoon smacked his lips. "What foods are you bringing?" "Oh," said Raccoon. "Well, I'm bringing, it's going to be a surprise." "Oh, goody. I love surprises. I can hardly wait," said Bear, "but I must be going now. I have to get my napkins," and off Bear went, taking her world-famous salmon quiche with her. Raccoon watched her go, and he thought to himself, "Gee, maybe I should go home and make something to bring." Then he looked at his fishing pole. "Nah, I can do that later," and Raccoon went back to fishing. Soon Raccoon came down the trail right past Raccoon, where he was sitting and fishing. "Hey, Raccoon, are you coming to the party tonight?" asked Rabbit. "Oh, yes, friend Rabbit. Bear made her world-famous quiche, so I'll be there. What are you bringing?" "I'm bringing my homemade strawberry ice cream," said Rabbit. "I picked the strawberries myself this morning. What are you going to bring?" "Oh, it's going to be a surprise." "Oh, awesome," said Rabbit. "I can hardly wait to try them, but I must be going now. My homemade ice cream is starting to melt." "See you at the party," said Rabbit. Thought Raccoon. "Maybe I should go home and make something." Then he looked at his fishing pole and decided that he still had plenty of time left. He sat down against his tree and closed his eyes. Not long afterwards, Quail came by, carrying a covered basket. "Well, hello, Raccoon. Where are you going to the party tonight?" "Oh, yes, I am. Smelling something good. What are you bringing?" "I just baked some loaves of sunflower seed bread for everyone to share." "They sure smell good," said Raccoon. His tummy started grumbling again. "What are you bringing?" It's going to be a surprise." "Oh, I could hardly wait," said Quail. "I'd better get going while my bread is still hot. See you there." And Quail went down the trail. Thought Raccoon. "Maybe I had better get started on making something." But again he looked at the fishing pole and decided he had plenty of time left, so Raccoon went back to his fishing. A short time later, Frog came hopping down the trail, holding a platter over his head with his one hand. "Hello, Frog. Off to the party today?" "Oh, yes," said Frog. "I made shoofly pie to bring. It's my grandmother's recipe. Are you going today?" "You bet I am," said Raccoon. "What are you bringing?" It's a surprise," answered Raccoon, with a big smile on his face. "Wow, I can hardly wait. I'll see you there," and off he hopped, taking his grandmother's shoofly pie with him. Thought Raccoon. "Maybe I should be going home and making something." Then he thought, "No, I still have enough time to finish my fishing," and this is just what he did. After a little while, more birds and animals came down the trail. Each one was carrying a delicious food made especially for the party. They all stopped to chat with the Raccoon and ask him what he was bringing. Each time Raccoon would smile. "It's going to be a wonderful surprise." Then he kept on fishing. Before he knew it, it was time for the Raccoon to go to the party. He had spent too much time fishing that he would be late he would be the last one to arrive. He spent so much time fishing that he didn't leave himself enough time to make anything. Oh dear, what am I going to bring? Thought Raccoon. Maybe I can bring a big bag of chips. Perhaps some box of cookies. No, those won't do. What am I going to bring? In desperation, he raced around the house looking for something to make. It would have to be something quick and easy, thought Raccoon. I'm out of time. Just then his eyes fell upon the big pot. I know, I can make soup. So Raccoon took the pot off the shelf and filled it with water. But what shall I put in it? I have no food in my house. If only I had caught some fish today. Oh dear. He looked at the empty fishing basket. Empty, that is, except for all the long, fat worms he had dug up that morning. Without even thinking about it, Raccoon dumped the worms in the soup pot. Then he added a pinch of pepper and parsley, and then he covered it and ran out the door. Raccoon was the last one to arrive at the party. He walked over to the fire and put his pot down so it would cook, hoping no one would look inside. Then he wandered off into the crowd. Soon Raccoon was helping himself to everyone else's food. As the others came by him, he asked what the food he brought, where the food was he brought. Raccoon would answer, I made a wonderful soup, but it is not ready yet. It needs to cook a little longer. And each time Raccoon said this, he would cross his fingers. He was hoping that everyone would get too full eating everybody else's food to have any room left for his soup. However, while Raccoon was eating and talking, others saw his soup pot cooking by the fire. One by one, they took off the cover and took a peek. They could not wait to taste the big surprise. Bear was the first one to lift the lid and give Raccoon's soup a stir. It didn't smell very good. And then she lifted a spoon to taste it. It was full of worms. Rabbit saw the shocked look on his bear's face and went over to it. Well, what a big surprise did Raccoon make? I love a good surprise. Oh, Rabbit, said Bear. Raccoon brought worm soup. What? Shh, said Bear. That's lazy Raccoon spent all day fishing instead of cooking like the rest of us. Then he came here to eat all of our food, our good food, and he brings worm soup made from his unused fishing worms. Bear was beside himself with anger. I'm going to go right over to and tell him, give him a piece of my mind. Now, Bear, wait just a minute, please. I think I have a better idea. So Raccoon play a trick on him right now. There's what we are going to do. And he whispered to in Bear's ear. Oh, said Bear. Yes, that would be a good one. And so Bear and Rabbit went to every bird and animal at the party, and they whispered into everyone's ear, that is, except Raccoon. And Raccoon was none the wiser. He was too busy enjoying himself, talking and eating everyone else's good food. He forgot all about his soup until he saw Quail take some in a bowl and bring a spoon up to her mouth. Oh no, thought Raccoon. My secret is out. But before he could make a move, he heard Quail saying, oh my goodness, Raccoon's soup is fabulous. I think it's the best soup I have ever eaten. Raccoon could hardly believe his ears. He stood there for a moment with his mouth hanging open. We watched Bear taste a bowl of the same soup and eat it. Heavens, said Bear. Quail was right. This is the best soup I have ever had. I must get Raccoon's recipe. Soon the birds and the animals were crowding around Raccoon's soup pot. Each one telling him it was the best soup they had ever had. Bear came over to Raccoon, wiping his chin. Raccoon, you had better get some of your soup before it's all gone. It is so good. Raccoon could hardly believe it. Everyone was loving his worm soup. He just had to go and try some. He had to push his way through the crowd to reach his soup pot. When he got there, Rabbit handed him a bowl of soup. Raccoon said, fill it up. You have truly outdone yourself this time. Eat up. And that is just what Raccoon did. He didn't even know that the spoon frog handed it to him. He gulped the soup right out of his bowl, eager to eat the best soup in the world. And oh, the taste of it. Raccoon could not believe his tongue. His worm soup was the worst thing he had ever had in his mouth. It tasted so bad, Raccoon thought he was going to be sick. Not knowing what to do, he spit it out all right into the fire, and then he did it. So everyone started laughing and pointing a finger at him. Now, Raccoon, said Frog, you were right after all. Your soup was a real big surprise. Raccoon looked at all the other animals and laughed at him. And when he saw that each one had a dry, empty spoon and bowl. Everyone, they had to tricked him good. Raccoon felt so ashamed of himself that he did not even have words to say. He just turned and went home, the laughter burning in his ears. And the next time there was a party, Raccoon started cooking 2 days early just to make up for everyone. To make it up to everyone. Okay.